This, this right here, this has me tired. I went to watch Five Nights at Freddy's on a Friday night, and I thought to myself, you know what? I have low expectations. I kept thinking to myself, look, it's FNAF. I don't really know the story, but I like horror movies. I could probably get a kick out of this. I'm disappointed. Like, look, spoiler warning. I'm not gonna spoil in this section, but I'm going to review this movie, right? So there's gonna be spoilers here. First things first, I'm not a big FNAF lore fan, so you're not gonna see me be pleasured by all the fan service. I went there kind of looking for an actual movie, and I went with my friends. So the experience was a little bit unique. So this here, to give you the verdict before I explain to you why, is a 7 out of 10. This is mid the movie, okay? I don't know what went wrong here, but I'll get into it. And to make sure that you know, spoilers ahead. From this point on, spoilers. Secondly, like and subscribe if you want more, please. I wanna do movie reviews and gaming videos. I wanna do everything. Please. The movie's not a horror movie. Like, you would expect that, okay, Five Nights at Freddy's, kind of a horror game, has these things going on, a lot of murder, a lot of kids dying. You would expect it kind of to be a horror movie, but no, you're not it. It's this weird story, because it wanted to, like, oh yeah, we want to do some horror elements because the animatronics are supposed to kill, but we also don't want to show the kills. So you end up having this hodgepodge of a movie where you don't really feel intimidated by the animatronics. So before I get into everything else that's wrong with the movie, let me give credit where credit is due. The production is great. The movie looks great. The actors seem to know what they're supposed to be conveying, and the best part is the animatronics and all that look amazing, and it has a lot of fan service, so that's great. Good on you did great. Now let's get into the bad. Why am I supposed to like Mike? Mike is the protagonist here, right? He's supposed to be the security guard, he's the person we're following. Why am I even supposed to sympathize with our protagonist? He has a little sister. He doesn't really showcase that he's very caring about her until late in the movie, or at least in the halfway point of the movie, where they're like, you know, your sister does care about you a lot. You know, they communicate through drawings, and you're like, okay, then that means something. It must mean something. It does, but it looks very dumb the way that it actually affects the movie. But we'll get there when we get there. He has problems with his head. He lost his little brother. And his thing is that he thinks that if he can get inside his dream enough, he can see who kidnapped his brother. Bruh, you never saw the front of the car. In your memory, it's not gonna exist. He keeps saying the dream theory, that, oh, everything that I saw in my head at some point is permanently engraved. That just means that I need to look hard enough, and I'm just not looking hard enough. So I go in my dreams, and I go into my memories, and I start looking, and I start searching. But guess what? You can't find it. He can't find him because you never saw his face. You kind of walked around, went through this, and then saw the back of the car and was like, oh no, my little brother, no. The movie starts explaining to you that he has problems, and he starts off by he goes, sees a child being taken, he's kind of crying, and you're thinking, oh, this is a kidnapping or something. He never stops to question the adult that's with the child who's now not crying. He just beeline tackles him and just beats the crap out of him, you know? And like, great, that's a great scene, that's a great setup. But then when you look at the context, you should have put the context beforehand, right? He's having these dreams of kidnapping. You can't tell if it's real or not. And then like you start explaining that he's been having these issues with the trauma, that he sees it everywhere. It makes him kind of be this jumpy person. Maybe. I don't know. That's my opinion. he has these areas that can be built upon, and they're just not built. I feel like they just put the blocks down, they picked up Legos, put it there, and said, make something. And nobody made anything because nobody knew who was supposed to do that. Then we enter the second portion of this, which is Purple Guy. He's the main antagonist, William Afton. And he's barely in the movie. His presence is barely there. Like, I get it. The movie's hyper-focused on the family struggles and issues on Mike and his little sister Abby. And sure, they have an adorable relationship. I can get behind that. But they still have issues. And William Afton being the main antagonist, or at least the main, head honcho here, he's barely visible. It's so predictable. Who is William Afton in all these? That they put a purple tie on him to let you know that hey, I did the thing. You see this? You see this? I did the thing for you. I did it for you. You viewer. For you. Look, the movie's literally just fan service. You got this fan service. He just keeps going. But when you come to okay, what if I'm not a fan? What if I'm here to watch the story? I look at the story and I just keep questioning, but why does this happen? Why does that happen? Why does anything happen, Because, it's a good setup that he can't hold a job. And William Afton is the person who basically just sends these people who need jobs desperately and can't get one to randomly just, I got a job for you. It's at a fast food joint. You can't get a job, so you're gonna have to work on this, right? Yeah, you're a good guy. The issue is he keeps sending these night guards, and nobody closes down or demolishes the Fazbear. They keep going there, they say they're quitting, but they're really just disappeared because they're dead. And if they're dead and they're disappearing, then why hasn't any cop entered and been like, oh, we need to intervene here? Everybody's just dying and disappearing out of nowhere. Bro, in the 80s, this restaurant was chained with a bunch of kids missing, so I don't know, maybe there's still something going on. No, nothing. So, the other thing that I have to say, the animatronics look great, but I don't think they ever explain why they're killing. Because, spoiler, at the end of the movie, they go that the reason they're killing is because they're being manipulated by William Afton. Because of a drawing on the wall. Let me say that again. A drawing on the wall, a paper drawing on the wall, is what's manipulating these ghost kids into killing anything and everything. Why? Why is it just this? Why isn't it that they're afraid, at very least, oh yeah, they're traumatized. They're afraid that William Afton is gonna do this because he's their abuser. He's believing that, they're believing that they're not strong enough. Like Looney Tunes, that's the most basic thing. They're like, oh yeah, he's bigger than us. He's stronger than us. And then they're like, wait a minute, he used to be. Then they gang up on him. But no, they don't do anything. They don't go through it. They don't think. They don't exist. It's stupid. So the next thing is, apart from having William Afton literally have no role in the movie, apart from just being William Afton and the person who made everything happen in a sense, right? Because it's not that you see him kill somebody. You don't really see him kill anybody. You don't see him really kidnap anybody. You don't have this murder mystery of the kids or something. No. But here's where things get even worse. Where you start to go into Vanessa Afton. What? She's a cop. Great. But if she's a cop and she knows, because she does know, that her dad is this guy kidnapping kids and dumping bodies into the animatronics. First of all, that stench has to be prominent somewhere. There's no way he dumped bodies in an animatronic and nobody saw it, unless he dumped them out. But she says in the line, it's not just their souls in there, it's their bodies as well. Their bodies are still in there and they don't stink. Like, hey, it's the 80s. Maybe at this age they're already bones. But at no point nobody in the restaurant said, yo, this smells bad. What's going on here? It smells. Like, what's going on? Nobody says that. And the worst part is, she's a cop. She's a literal cop. She has a gun and a badge. She can call the police force. She knows all of the information. She is living evidence of everything that's happened. And instead of going and making a case against her own father, she does not. The worst thing about me with Vanessa is that she is a nothing character in the movie. She has all of the information, gets mad for no reason, and then just doesn't want to give information to Mike. Information that's important, mind you. And just decides, oh yeah, I'm not going to tell you this information. You're going to have to find it out, or I'll just tell it to you when they attack you, finally, near the end of the movie. Because look at this. You meet Vanessa in the second night. Second night that he's here. That Mike's here at Five Nights at Freddy's. You finally see her. She just pulls up to the place. That's weird. Okay. So she knows the place. No problem. Maybe because there's been a lot of cases. Probably. I thought it was like, oh yeah, she knows the place because, well, there's been a lot of deaths. Most of the security guards die. And we don't really know why. No, it wasn't that. That's not it. That's not a plot point. She goes there because her father's the owner, and she just goes there to check on the animatronics because she plays with them. They're her friends. Hey, no issue with that, but they're her friends. She doesn't tell Mike at any given moment or like try to make sure like security or something. No, nothing. Because she's being an accomplice. So, okay, maybe that's why she never told the police. Because she was being complacent and she might have probably, gotten dirtied up with the whole, oh yeah, I knew my father was a bad man. I was traumatized. I didn't want to tell him. He's my dad. After all. You have Vanessa come in the fourth night again. Abby was already here during the third night, and the animatronics took a liking to her. She's a kid, they're a kid, they were kind of like, oh, we can bond, tickle her a little. It sounds weird, but they do that. And in the fourth night, Vanessa's already inside, and Mike walks in with Abby. Abby walks straight to the animatronic, starts talking to her, and Vanessa kind of looks at Mike and is like, why did you bring him here? Why did you bring her here? And he's like, well, you didn't tell me they could talk, and it seems you knew. Well, if only you asked. That's kind of like information I do not expect. Anyways, she never tells him that the animatronics really move or talk or anything. Because at this point, already in the third night, he saw them walking around moving. But he thought that, oh yeah, they probably move around, but they move around on stage. Perfect. But no. She decides to keep that information. And then in the fourth night, she decides to build a fort with Abby and all of the animatronics so they can, sing Kumbaya in a circle. Then when Abby walks up to Bonnie and touches the guitar, and obviously she gets electrocuted, she gets mad at Mike for bringing Abby over. Like, you don't understand what's happening here. Abby tells the animatronics, oh, let's build a fort for him. And Mike tells him, look, they're big boys. I don't think it's very safe. It's pretty dangerous for you to be, playing around with these things. They can hurt you easily. And he goes to Vanessa, looks at her dead in the eyes, trying to get an adult look at her. Goes like, you agree, right? Her answer is, if we get the tables, we can make it higher. So they start building a fort. Where's the horror? Why is this more of a comedy than a horror film? Like, you don't understand. I did not expect it to be so PG-13. Like, there was nothing that was really horror related in the movie. 50 to 60% of the movie, or at least where the animatronics, appear, is them just playing. Not them killing something, and most of the kills are off screen. That's the worst part. It sucks. Having kills be off screen sucks. It's one of the worst things that you can do, because at least if you do it on screen, you can confirm what happened, or at least, oh, this character's dead, this character isn't. You just kind of, off screen, and then in another shot just show the corpses. That's lazy, Because it's better if you were to, like, for example, I want to keep it PG, I can't show, blood and stuff. Easy. Do it in silhouettes. You can't see if it's blood or oil or whatever if you do it in silhouettes. But no, they didn't want to do that. They did it for one scene, then never did it again. So going back to Vanessa, she gets mad at Mike, and Mike's confused. He doesn't know why she's mad, because in his mind, he said, don't play with the animatronics. She suggested play with the animatronics. Abby gets hurt, like Mike has said, and Vanessa says, this is your fault. Why did you bring her here? Like, she just starts gaslighting him into believing that he's at fault here. He doesn't have a choice. He can't just leave his little sister home alone. And you're about to be asking, but wait a minute. How could she be home alone? Wasn't she home alone when he didn't have this job? Because he probably worked during the day, not night shifts, or if he worked night shift, she would have to be alone at some point. No, that's where those characters come in. One of the characters, named Mats, she was Abby's babysitter. And she is introduced to him as, she's a babysitter. She just sits around the couch, and she's doing this for free. Now, what's wild about this, and again, this is all spoilers, she literally is in cahoots with another character, the aunt. I forgot her name, but she's a terrible character. I think the best character in the entire movie is Doug, the lawyer. He's the only character that I hoped he got something good out of this, because he was actually with the least amount of lines and the most likable somehow. He was so charming and convincing for what he wanted to do, that he was a lawyer obligated to work with this person. He didn't agree with her, and he did it so well that I sympathized with him. Like, he was the best part of the movie for me. But at the end of the day, the movie was mid. 7 out of 10, because the production was good. If the production was like not as good as it was, I would put it 6 out of 10. But it looked at least very well. But the animatronics weren't really like the main focus. They really didn't feel scary when they're the main, bad things in the game. Like, they're the baddies. They're the things you're afraid of. That's the thing you don't want to see. The sound's the thing. None of it. You don't really feel that tension. I never felt any time in the movie that I was tense for something that was gonna happen. I felt that when I was watching Talk to Me, but not during this film. It felt like it was a dark comedy trying to disguise itself as a horror movie. It was baby's first horror movie. That's how I can define it, because Goosebumps does a better work than what this movie did. It just disappointed me, and I had low expectations. And I know, like, it's gonna be very either controversial or someone's gonna be with me. It's very split down the middle. There's a lot of fan service, and obviously if you love the IP, you're gonna love the movie because it does everything for the fans. But someone like me who likes going to watch movies and treats it as an independent entity doesn't really do anything for me, because it's not really like this is going on, plot's there. It's like plot A is going on, plot B is going on, plot C is going on. I don't feel there's a plot C. Plot A is very entangled, and plot B is extremely entangled. Because, like, for example, in plot B, which would be the custody of Abby, they just kill the aunt. Like, they just kill her. So the entirety of her existing has no reason apart from pushing Mike to take the job, because he needs a job to be a custodian in case he goes to court. But the other thing is, She dies, and she never notices that this giant animatronic just behind her. Also, the animatronic is a ghost, but has weight when it enters a taxi. Like, sure, it's funny, it's a joke, but like, it disappears out of nowhere, right? Unless it's super fast, which I'm assuming it is. It's a ghost after, and it just disappears. Abby never really realizes what's going on, or never grasps how tough the situation is going on, and she never truly grasps that her brother isn't trying to give her up for adoption, rather that he got these documents, they were given to him by a lawyer. He can destroy them, he can toss them to the trash, but he put them away because he doesn't really have a job. You're not really helping him out. So like, he might be thinking, I might not be doing enough here. Maybe I'm not fit for this type of job. And Mike isn't fit for this job because he is so stupid. The entirety of the movie boils down to focus on what you have rather than what you might have missed out. Now the issue with that is one of two things. If it's something like, oh yeah, you're not valuing your family members because some of them either passed away, or some of them might have, let's say, moved on, they left you, and now you're alone with your sister and you're doing these things. No, like, you're not supposed to really like move on from someone kidnapping your little brother and you feeling like it's your fault. You need to go to a psychologist for that, and he's not really going to a psychologist. Like, you can't antagonize the idea of him wanting to get back his brother, because the idea is that he wants to get back his brother because it's the entire fault that his family has crumbled down. His dad kills himself because of this, and his mom dies because her health couldn't keep up, and she probably gave up afterwards, because people just give up after a while if they're really, really depressed. So I can't antagonize that idea. He's not exactly in the wrong. He does need to appreciate his little sister more. That's a fact. But that doesn't mean he needs to forget him or feel like, look, I need to let it go. It won't bring him back. And he recognizes that. He says that it won't bring him back in some point in the movie. So when he finally gets this random option of like, oh, if you give us Abby, you can be with your little brother forever. He had already accepted that it won't bring him back, but he still wants that closure of putting to justice, or at least having something be done and figuring out who took his brother in case that he is still alive. Because it can happen. Who knows? So yeah, I feel like that area in the plot got gray, because when they reached the end, they didn't know how to get the aunt out of the picture, and they decided just kill her off. Just take her out of the, just take her off. And then, Abby's way too trusting, keeps going. She saw that she got hurt, that these people are mad, that her brother is advising her things, and he doesn't seem to be wrong with these things. He knows, there's things going on, and you see that there are things going on. But she's, alright, let's say, she's a little girl, she's naive, she's young, she thinks that she can take over the world. But come on, I'm gonna leave it there, because this video is going on for an hour now. So if that's my opinion on this movie. It's very convoluted, 7 out of 10, mid. Enjoyable, wouldn't watch it again. Maybe if I want to revisit and see if the plot points make more sense if I watch it in a more enclosed environment, sure. But that's only if I get, 100 likes on the video? Maybe. But if you like this video, subscribe for more content. I want to do more videos. I have a list of movies that people recommended me to go watch and be like, oh, you should review this movie. They're obviously kind of more C-list movies, so they're funnier, so I'm not really gonna dig into them seriously. But should be expecting that. I'm trying to work on a Kirby montage as well. But that takes longer. Plus with college work, it's taking quite a bit. So thank you for watching, whoever watched this video. I hope it's not that as long as I'm recording it. So see you on the next one.